above moderate income earner. And this is from the city, your numbers. The average rent in Los Angeles is $2,031, when new apartments built in the preceding 10 years rent for a little over $2,600 and have a 12% vacancy rate. In a healthy market, supply and demand should be about 5%. So what she is saying is absolutely correct, and what you're saying, according to the city, your own report is absolutely false.
So it's true that we underbuild at the lowest end of the market because it costs so much to subsidize these units. We're not meeting, we have a large need for very low-income families that we don't meet. We have a large need for low-income families we don't meet. We're building essentially zero moderate income units because that's essentially should be done by the market, but our regulations make it impossible to do. And we do build enough to meet.
Please do let him respond.
We do build enough to meet the anticipated population growth for upper income residents, right? What I'm saying is that the amount we build that's affordable is close to it's like, you know, depending on what year it is, it's like 8 to 10% of the total units, right? It's still way too little because we have 40% of our population is low income. So I'm not arguing with your overall point, I'm just clarifying it's not 2%. And the other piece is that, as Micah said, you know, I mean, the reason why low-income people can live in the city of Los Angeles is because we used to build housing. 90% of low-income people in the city of Los Angeles live in buildings that were built for profit as luxury units by speculative investments in the 1920s or 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s, before we made it really hard to build enough housing, right? And that doesn't mean it's a good situation, because some of those units are old and they have lead paint, or people are living in overcrowded situations, right? But at least if you allow people to build housing, there's more space for everyone, you know, and rents essentially will normalize and go a little bit down. We still need to, as a society, commit much more money to build units that are just for people who can afford to pay the market rent, or give those households, you know, vouchers which they can go out and rent. We need to do tons of more things, as Mike had said, but stopping housing is going to make things worse. And I have to say, this talk about, you know, again, I'm not insulting anyone, but if you just say it's just a 2-year moratorium, if you're living on the streets, or if you're living in a crowded situation, or if you're paying 70% of your rent on housing, 2 years. I mean, you know, it's like, I'm not going to say the adjective I want to say, but it's not a good solution for that.
I'm originally from Chicago, and just to let you know, and I've been here 6 years, and I love LA, and I moved here by choice. And in the city of Chicago, as much as Mayor Daley has done some things that are questionable, every developer that builds is required to provide housing for police officers, teachers, firefighters, people that work and service the city. Why has the city of LA has gotten us to this point where we need to have a measure in order to force the city to get it together to start providing housing for people in order to be able to work in the city and live in the city that they service? We've left it up to the developers, assuming that they're going to provide affordable housing, and they haven't. So this measure, yeah, in a sense, it's not ideal, but why haven't we got to the point where this has to be done in order for the city to be doing their job to protect its citizens? This is what I don't know.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to, oh, sorry, okay, go ahead.
So that is a great question. I mean, we're not in a good position, but I think the only thing I'd add to that is that there is nothing in Measure S to provide affordable housing.
It's
right?
stopping us to put a hold so we can start thinking about responsible regulation.
There might, like, again, like, I'm not going to stand here and defend the city of LA and how things have come this far, although I will say that, like, a lot of the problem is not just, I mean, the enemy to some extent is us, right? Like, you know, if there should be so much more housing on the west side, right? There should be so much more housing throughout the city. That's why we have this situation, but, like, neighbors stop it. And that's why we have this situation where when we do want density and we do want housing, we cram it in totally out of scale, inappropriate ways in places that have less political power. That's a horrible thing to do. But just to remind everyone, like, there is, Measure S is not an affordable housing law, right? It's not, there's nothing in it that if we pass it, we're going to get a lot of affordable housing. And I think the one other thing I would just mention is that the, you know, whatever the intent behind it is, you know, there's a 2-year moratorium and then it's just a little break. I mean, one of our experiences in both LA and in California is that once we make sort of large wholesale changes and pass big laws, their original intent gets lost pretty fast, right? I don't think anyone, for instance, who wrote CityWatch envisioned 35 years later that this would be used to stop people from building trains, or to just make it so that a single person could hold up an entire development even if the majority of the people in their neighborhood were in favor of it. And so it's like, it's hard, right, to write a complicated, large law. And so we could have a situation where at the end of 2 years, the folks who wrote Measure S think that, okay, well now we turn things back on and we're going to get more development, but we find that it's actually given people a lot of leeway to throw up a lot of obstacles and slow things down in ways that even as authors never anticipated. And I think it's just something important to keep in mind.
Okay, I'm going to call on folks who haven't spoken yet. You there, and then you, and then we'll see. I'm not making promises. Sorry. And then, yeah, Tom, so you were raising your hand a long time ago, so you too. And then we'll go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to hear just, it was really fun that you support Measure S.
Can you speak up?
For the people who support Measure S, where do you stand with Measure HHH? And I don't know if
Use the mic.
Measure HHH, which was passed. Can you talk about where this stands?
We supported Measure HHS. We came out publicly supporting Measure HHS. We said we had concerns. HHH. I think Measure H will pass handily. I think we supported Measure HHH. You know, being dyslexic in this world is just very, the more numbers and letters we use. We supported it. And our only concern about it is how the city council would implement it, which I think is a concern everyone would have. And part of our whole thing here is to try and get a coalition of people, try to get things in neighborhoods, try to get it so people can watchdog the city and make HHH do what we all want it to do. I've been to a few of the early meetings, and frankly I'm concerned because now what went from all affordable housing and all the things that were promised, now there is luxury market rate housing beginning and mixed use beginning to get packed into these things without as much, I sit in the meeting, I know what's discussed most of the time. A lot of discussion isn't about getting those services in there. It's the meetings, if you go to them, the majority of the discussion ends up being about how to put the luxury market rate housing and the mixed use in. And I have concerns about that. I have concerns. I don't think that's what everybody thought they were voting on. So I would call on all of us here in this room, if you did support HHH, please begin to go to these meetings and be heard. Please.
All right, thank you very much. You, sir, yes.
Jim Summers from Granada Hills, and I'm sorry, Sue, the one that's a professor. I would really appreciate it if you came out and looked over this project we have in Granada Hills, because as far as the homeless are concerned, the original proposal was 440 units, but only 22 were for the homeless. They blew over all our Q conditions regarding height, so they get to supersize it. They're asking for the bonus density, more supersizing and less on the parking. This thing is 6 to 10 times conservatively the amount of what it should be in our RS1 neighborhood, surrounded by 1,000 homes, okay? So what I think is Measure S is really an anti-corruption bill, and the people that are doing these things are corrupt. And I'm gonna have to go, and with my neighbors, wait a second, with my neighbors, I'm gonna have to sue again. That's 2 or 3 years. We will win, because we know it's corrupt, but it's now $300,000-$400,000. I had to do the same thing 10 years ago, okay? Against a coal project, big box, commercial. And it gets costly. Our councilman, assistant councilman then, is now our councilman. We're gonna have to sue again. I'm tired of it. We're not stopping there, but it's an anti-corruption thing, because all these entitlements that are asking are totally out of line with the neighborhood, and that's what I'm worried about. I don't mind those disadvantaged coming into our neighborhood. I really don't, but it's the density. For our project to answer that, we said, okay, you could have 50 to 60 units, and we'll put in 25 affordable units, and you're getting 3 more than what they have there. But it's, I'm just saying, the way I see it, it's an anti-corruption bill, and our city council is totally corrupt. And also, I have developers that I work with. I'm in commercial real estate, got my CCIM 12 years ago. so I do know the facts. Builders lie to us and all of that, councilman back them up. But most of the builders are really pretty good people that want to build, but they're cut out because it's this little, maybe 3 or 4% that are in there with our council people. How do we get those 3 or 4% out? It's money, it's campaign money. How do we do that? 'Cause that's how
Go.
Just one clarification, and sir, I'm glad you came and talked about your concerns about the project, but just for the purpose of this forum, that project did not request a zone change or general plan amendment. It did use a density bonus, which is a different thing.
Yeah, very few.
No, one of these buildings that was done to
Sunset.
us.
No, I think you're saying it would still be
It
built.
wasn't. This is according to the zoning and the granite. It was done according to the zoning and the state density bonus law. It didn't request either of those procedures.
So you're saying it would still be built, the
It would
measure
still be
is not
illegal.
In
affected?
fact, I mean, yeah, so they'll stop there, that it wouldn't be blocked by this.
Thank you. The woman with the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of.
All right, let's see if this works.
Look at this.
I'll try to,
Yeah, project.
so I have a bunch of different things. I'll try to go quick. One, so much of our problem is a lack of accountability, a lack of oversight, and the time involved in trying to get people apathetic, frustrated, pushed off, sidelined, passed over people to be involved in this process. So I was involved with my neighborhood council over like 4 miles down the road, and there was a big push for us to update our community plan. What happened? What happened to all these community plans that 5, 6, 7 years ago, all the neighbors came out to work on to update? That's at the city level. We also have the problem that we don't integrate with the state or with the county. So if we have an issue where we don't understand, or we have a disagreement on transportation planning, or on projections for development, or for growth, or anything else, then why aren't we working with the county and the state on the same information? The county is required, MTA has to come up with these plans. And those plans feed into our air quality, which are the plans that Caltrans has to work with. Caltrans doesn't answer to the city. And so people like me who lived along the 405, we weren't rich enough to sue for everything, and we weren't poor enough or of color enough to get any help. We got screwed. And not only did we get screwed by the state, we got screwed by the county, and we got screwed by the city, who would not stand up to the state. And when the development came in to fill up the open lots that Caltrans bought, they destroyed our street. They didn't take care of us in their over budget, over contract, over scheduled project. We got screwed. We had people stealing from those construction sites that Caltrans would not protect, that the city wouldn't protect because it was state property. So the city just had to replace our street, and it cost them 3 times as much to fix our street, which got broken because Caltrans screwed it up, and the city wouldn't stand up to Caltrans and say, fix our street. Okay? So going back anyway, so that's one thing.
Oh, no, that's one. I'm sorry, can you?
Yeah, real quick. So
I thought that was it. That's
the
a
thing
lot.
is, that this is accountability, oversight, and we're not fixing that. We're not addressing it, we're not fixing it. You want to know how we get better housing projects in? You have a study that comes out afterwards and say, we gave this incentive, what happened? How much building did we build? How many gentrified units resulted in X? How many tax incentives resulted in Y? So, and as a planner with CEQA and NEPA, environmental planners like me, we get pushed off and blamed all the time for the fact that developers don't give us the information we need. So, in every other level of government, it's common for an outside contractor to provide the information about a development project. This is common. This is not something that's just weird that's going into the city to try to, have the conflict of interest. This is the way things are done. But it can be fixed by having oversight. And to have oversight, you need smart, well-equipped, ethical people who are planners for the city, for the county, for the state, who are talking to one another. And so for people who want the state to do these things, the city to do these things, realize that you are then going to be increasing the number of people working for the city. So please, don't start arguing about the fact that more city government has more employees, because you can't have it both ways. And we take the hit every single time.
Any responses to that?
Yeah, I think the basic thing is, you a city council that